The Koka and Iga people were always samurai, yeah, from that area, and they're always like warrior families in that area. Now, in about the mid 1400s, there was a battle against uh, with the shogun of the time, and the Iga people got in close to his encampment, and they are known for pretty much doing a really good night raid attack, and they become famous for this point. Or that's how history records why they became famous. Apart from that, there's no other reason as why they suddenly became the best, but it just increases and they become more popular and hired along. That's the only reference we've got so far. Again, this goes back to that there is no actual evidence of why they were so good. They were just very good at ninjutsu. So good that, in fact, that Shinobi, which generally has connotations of stealer or stealing, was replaced with Iga no Mono or Koka no Mono. And later you get Koka and Iga Ryu, not actual school with an actual building with actual soke, but just a lineage of Koka and Iga traditions. And in fact, the Iga people, the castle guard later were probably not actually from Iga after generation. And there's certain listings of different clans that still call them Iga and change their name to Iga. They probably were never from Iga. They were that famous, the Iga and Koka people. And of course, they were hired throughout the land. So we've no idea why, but Stephen's favourite theory, Stephen Nojiri, is that Iga and Koga were the hellhole. So literally there was infighting, messing around, smashing each other up, and they had to become good at ninjutsu. In the hidden or lost scroll of the Nimpiden, which is we're re-releasing the Nimpiden called The Secret Tradition of the Shinobi, I think, and that is coming out in November. That has the missing chapter of the Nimpiden. That states that the Chinese came over to Iga and they brought ninjutsu with them and they only taught it in Iga, which is not correct because it's not a fake sort of back history. But even they believed it came from Iga. Impossible question to answer. Who used it first? Who knows? There's no record, no names. There's only theories and debates. There's no, and even the records themselves are just like half mythical. So nobody knows. The social structure in Iga before the Iga no Ran and in Koka before that's the war in Iga and before the Sengoku period ended, was you had what are called three samurai or landowning samurai. You have to get this 100% correct, guys. Just because they're landowning, everybody says, oh, Samurai are poor samurai. In the Sengoku period, the samurai in Iga and Koka are not poor. They're not got scrabby clothes on and no teeth and, they can't afford this. They're landowners. They're massively rich. They own the entire domains and they have nobody above them. In their own rights, they're miniature daimyo. Yeah, they're miniature warlords. They're rich, What you've got to remember is the word samurai is often written by people, court nobles or court people or city people, talking about their country folk. You know what I mean? They're not peasants in the hills. They're full-blown samurai with hundreds of men retained by them, gold reserves, beautiful clothes. So yes, they have that. Now we don't know how many of them did ninjutsu, but we know the people they had underneath them in Iga did ninjutsu. This is a big problem in the ninja world at the minute. I started off coming on that saying that ninja are not peasants, they're not anti-samurai, they are from the samurai class. People have sort of taken that out of context. Of course, what I'm saying is that many of them from the samurai class, absolutely true. But what we don't know is the unknown factor. That is how many came from the Ashigaru class. So remember, Ashigaru were also shinobi, that is low-level foot soldiers. Samurai were also shinobi. And probably low-level genin, which was like slaves and servants, were probably shinobi. What we'll never know is the proportion or distribution of them. So shinobi is an art form used by people. Their social status is something totally separate. I've been saying this for years, but just to concrete it, doesn't matter your social status. If you learn ninjutsu, you learn ninjutsu. If you're retained for your ninja skills as a samurai, you're a samurai who does ninjutsu. This question is difficult to answer. It depends what you mean. No, there were ninjas from Koka. You can say Koga, Koka, whichever way you want to say it. Yep, they were ninjas from there. There's no problem. There are none anymore, so depends how you use it. Iga and Koka, pretty much killing people. I think there's, medicine probably later on, because of probably their chemistry and their gunpowder. I think some medicine and fireworks companies that sort of like go back to family traditions from there. So, but generally no. If you say Iga or Koka, people jump to ninjutsu. How many families? Now, this is a problem because they talk about Iga and Koka as the 53 families and the 21 families. This doesn't mean a complete list. They were the families listed in a certain place on a certain document. How many families there actually were? Unknown. But you're looking at about 100 minimum, probably. Did they all learn ninjutsu? Probably. We don't know. But not all of them are recorded. Is there a notable difference? Now, this is difficult to answer because there are not so many actual Koka manuals. The Bansen Shukai is without doubt in my mind an Iga manual, and all the versions you see say Fujibashi of Koka. This was transcribed by someone from Koka. So the reason it says Koka is because they're from Koka and they want Koka to be the best. However, if you look at the Bansen Shukai, every single reference inside, every single indirect quote goes straight to Iga. Of Iga, Iga no Mono, those of Iga, families of Iga. Nothing about Koka. It just says of Iga and Koka do this. But then when it says families or it references we Iga no Mono, i.e. Fujibashi was from Iga. So you're left with very few actual Iga manuals. Koka manuals. And again, we're redoing the Nimpuden, the Secret Traditions of the Shinobi, and in that we put one of the only Koka-ryu manuals that we've translated so far. Now this says they have a difference. Koka-ryu apparently, according to this gentleman, base themselves more on divine esoteric magic, things like that. And he complains that Iga people actually only base themselves on physical skills and tools and don't put their trust in the gods too much. So that's his problem with the Iga. And also, what is it? We also have coming out in the new book, In Search of the Ninja, is the full translation of Kimura's memoirs, and he's a Koka ninja, and he talks about not the differences, but he talks about Koka-ryu itself, or not Koka-ryu, but the Koka ninja, and how they used to do things and the different levels. And he also says that basic practical skills and low level. He says there are 3 to 5 levels in a ninja school, and the first level is teach them rubbish things that don't matter. Second level is like getting over walls, breaking and entering, this type of thing. He says the higher echelons get taught the magical arts, the deep sort of spiritual, esoteric meanings of things and skills. So basically skills with magic. So yeah, I'd say. However, though, to answer the question in full, in Iga, in the Bansen Shukai, there's an entire section missing. There's an entire section missing, which is it says in the table of contents, esoteric magical writings of the ninja. Then it says, then when it gets to that part in the book, gone, nothing. So it's been omitted by whoever transcribed it. So that's the problem. There is no Iga and Koka Mon as far as I'm aware. There are Mons used by the families within them, and there may be modern ones that people like Koka, the place of Koka, have used. But you've got to remember, each family had their own crest, and each sub-family who were serving a bigger family had a crest. So you're talking of hundreds of crests within Iga and Koka. So you have to go look at the name. There is the generic one. I don't know how far that goes back. But if you want to go back to Sengoku period, there's just hundreds used by different clans. That's it. Okay, I think it's Peter. I hope that answers your questions. Of course, if anybody else has got any questions, I'll try to answer them. Enjoy.